My name is Erin Furrow, and I am the product manager for JumpSeat with LeapPoint, and I appreciate you taking a few minutes to take a look at our digital adoption and training platform, JumpSeat. So I'm going to spend just a few minutes to give you a brief overview of the product and then take you directly into our Workfront instance and give you a quick tour of some of the capabilities of JumpSeat and how it can really drive not only initial training and onboarding for users of Workfront, but can also provide continual education as you have new users on board or continue to adopt new processes with Workfront. So it's a really powerful tool, both from an initiation standpoint, but also continuing to provide that process adoption and functionality adoption that Workfront offers. So just moving through here really quickly, JumpSeat is a digital adoption platform for training, user onboarding, and really it's, when we hear of the word just-in-time training, we think of kind of a buzzword, but JumpSeat truly is just-in-time training. It's truly at a user's fingertips. It's an in-app experience, and as a browser plugin, it overlays Workfront. So it's directly on top of the application, and users can access any type of training content at the moment of need. So if they're working in a process and they forget how to do something, JumpSeat's right there to the rescue, for lack of better words, where they can access a library of guides, and those guides will navigate them through Workfront while that user is actually performing the process. So they're not passively learning by watching a video and then coming back into Workfront, but they're actually doing the functionality as they're learning how to do it. The other great benefits of JumpSeat is it allows you to create persona-based training. So you can really target training for project manager types of users, workers, creative team, campaign managers, and really tailor that training and your Workfront and JumpSeat experience for those cohorts of users. And again, kind of piggybacking on this persona-based training concept, JumpSeat also allows you to organize learning material into curriculum, into really meaningful categories of learning. So moving on, JumpSeat's main features are right here. We have guides, which are process-oriented, where it navigates the user through a series of steps. We also have wayfinding, which are more static notifications that you can kind of plant on a page. So they're always there, a user hovers over them, and a tooltip appears. I'll show you those. We also have notifications, which are banners that are system-wide messages that you can tailor for your experience. It doesn't have to be just general Workfront messaging. It could be something as simple as, hey, your timesheets are due Friday, or don't forget to submit the brief in the request area. Something that's very tailored to the way you use Workfront. And I want to keep pointing that out because JumpSeat is great as a training platform, but it's really meant to tailor your Workfront experience and shape your training to the way in which you want your users using Workfront. We go through a lot of time and a lot of consulting where we develop these processes, we map out how we want users to interact in the tool. When it comes down to it, if we can't relay how they should use the tool and show them the best practice ways to use it, then we have user adoption issues, and then therefore we have kind of a break in our process and all the effort it took us to get to that moment of training. Stepping outside of training, we also have user analytics. So JumpSeat offers some really cool insights, for lack of better words. They are cool. Some cool insights as far as what are my users doing with the training material? How are my guides working? You know, what are the most popular guides? What's the completion rate for a guide? But what's really interesting are, how are my users using Workfront? What pages are they going to? Who's going to those pages? How many times a day? What are the navigation paths in Workfront? Do people log in and directly go to projects and then maybe a specific project? JumpSeat's going to give you that detail, which I think is a huge part of user adoption and understanding what are my people doing with this tool and how can I enable it to make it better? Is it aligning to the process that we wrote and that we all subscribe to, or is someone going off the reservation? How do I get those people to come back and leverage the process that we spent the time to develop in Workfront? So enough of a slide deck. Let me move us into the tool. So what you're going to see here, this is our kind of Workfront playground. This is LeapPoint's test and demo instance. It's also where we run JumpSeat. So you can already see some JumpSeat peeking through. This is JumpSeat here. It's pretty non-invasive. It sits on the right side of your browser. A user can interact with it with a simple click. Otherwise, it stays hidden until they interact with it. They can also move it out of the way. Looking here at JumpSeat console, they have some availability here. This is their home area where they can see a variety of guides. Here are the pathways I was mentioning where we organize, for lack of better words, it's a curriculum where we organize and categorize our learning material. Users can get an idea about what's involved with this learning curriculum. There are 7 guides for the Welcome to JumpSeat, 3 guides for planners. They can begin the pathway here. We also have just a list of guides that are available, and they can search a guide if they want to learn something about a project. They can find all guides that are related to a project. This last area I'll show you, I'll save that for later. This is reserved specifically for JumpSeat administrators and JumpSeat guide authors. So we'll touch on that later. The other attribute of JumpSeat I wanted to point out here in the home area of Workfront are these wayfinders. I mentioned them a second ago, but these are just these static notifications that you can plant on any screen or any object within Workfront. So you can see here, these are pretty vanilla, but you might have some specific processes or even some specific filters, for instance, that you might want your users leveraging. So you may want to say, hey, our process requires that you leverage, and the user can hover over here, tasks, issues, and approvals, and the user can go ahead and select those and deselect others. So really, at the moment of need information that's related to your process and not just specific Workfront functionality. So let me walk you through a guide. So this is more of a process guide. I'm going to go to my pathway. I'm going to go to my Welcome to JumpSeat pathway, and here are the guides in the pathway. Let's take a look at this Workfront overview. This guide's going to push me through and give me just a quick tour of Workfront. And you can see I'm interacting with JumpSeat and clicking a next button. JumpSeat's looking for the next available area that's applicable to the user. So we can see here that it's found projects. I'm going to click on projects. JumpSeat's going to hang with me as I navigate to a new area of the application. These types of guides are great for new users as you're onboarding them into your tool. This play button here is for administrators, so that way we can keep authoring, but we're not going to author right now. And you can see where I can continue to navigate through the application. This is, again, a more passive type of guide where the user is really interacting with JumpSeat. But I do want to point out one area here. The areas, what you're seeing here, the body or the copy, is completely customizable. So as you develop your own guides or think about the guides in which you'd like to portray for your processes, note that you can customize these guides in any number of ways. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to this step here. I've opened the JumpSeat console back up. And because I'm logged in as an administrator, I have access to additional capabilities here. Normal end users of JumpSeat will not have access to edit steps, but I'm going to show you what this looks like. It's super easy to change the step out. Highly useful. For instance, when your process changes and you need to make an update, you can simply come in here and update the copy. And speaking of how easy it is to change JumpSeat and change the content of the guides, this really is more of an evolution in the way in which we train people. You know, sometimes it's hard to get people with varying schedules into a room together to sit through a 3 or 4 hour training. I know this because I also lead in-person trainings for Workfront and some other applications. So there's a lot of coordination, a lot of material preparation, calendaring, making sure we have everyone in the same room, and then walking through the process, and then fingers crossed, hopefully everyone walks away and kind of remembers what to do. So JumpSeat's a great enhancement of those in-person trainings, or really it can kind of remove those in-person trainings because you now have access to guides here. And the collateral that you produce for those in-person trainings, if Workfront makes one update to the product or you modify your process, consider the amount of time it takes to not only recreate that training material and the screenshots, but also to distribute that training material and to lead another training, and hopefully people can attend the training and then again take the training away and be able to apply it in their own Workfront instance. So JumpSeat can really provide on-the-fly process and training adjustment. that you can then immediately distribute to your user base. So so because this is not a live demo, I feel like I'm talking to myself. This would be usually the time where I pause and ask questions. So I hope to hear from you if you've got any additional questions about what you've seen. But I do want to navigate to a different guide now. So I'm gonna end this guide and I'll navigate to the home area. I wanted to show you a different type of user experience with the guide, one in which a user is actually doing something with Workfront, but JumpSeat's pushing them to do it. So in other words, JumpSeat's having the user actually perform their function while the guide is active, if that makes sense. So I have a very, very simple guide here. It's just how to create a new task, but I just want to give you a flavor of what that experience is like for a user. So let's take the how to create a new task. We'll begin it, and this little tooltip just gives your user an overview of what they need to do. And again, this is just a great best practice as you create your training material. So again, JumpSeat's having me click on the task. So I'm going to click the task, and then because I clicked on it, the next step appears. So the next step is to actually give the task a name. And I'll create next. And then that's basically it. So because I performed that functionality, Workfront, JumpSeat ends the guide. I can then take a little survey. JumpSeat also provides the capability to embed surveys, videos, and images into tooltips, as well as PDFs. So some extra functionality there. You can see here at the end of a guide, or really anywhere in your application, you can have your users interact with a tooltip and a survey. So that was an example of a guide where a user is really interacting with the tool. Checking my time here, so I feel like I want to move over into the JumpSeat home area. So I've shown you the JumpSeat console, a few examples of guides, the ability to embed surveys, a process guide, showing you how to create a new task. I've shown wayfinders, show you how easy it is to create a guide. If we want to create a guide, let's just create one really quickly. Creating guides is very intuitive. Pretty much anyone can do it as long as they understand Workfront a little bit and they understand your process. I'm going to go ahead and auto start this. So what this means is that this guide will begin anytime, the next time someone logs into Workfront. So which is really great. We're talking about pushing training material and content when the user needs it and be able to control and also view if they've taken the training. So I'll go and select save. We'll add a step. You can see the JumpSeat picker displays. We'll select an item. JumpSeat picks up the location. A lot of styling tools here. So I can choose where I want the tooltip to appear. We'll do it to the right or the left. We'll save it. And then there you see. And we can continue to add steps in the same way. I'll go back to my previous step. So you can see how easy it is to author your own guides. Quickly going into the JumpSeat home area. This is JumpSeat home. JumpSeat can host a variety of web-based applications. Really, if it has a URL, JumpSeat can overlay the application and provide learning content and onboarding adoption content. So let's find our demo application, and we'll open it up. The real key area I wanted to show you was this dashboard area within JumpSeat home. This will give you insight into your active users. I just have 3 users in our test and demo instance, but you can see what our top guides are, how many times they've been completed, how many steps were taken on any given day with an adjustable date range. What's my site activity like? How many times a day are people logging into Workfront, and where are they going? Who's going there? And how many times? So real beneficial insight here. I've been pretty busy. Navigating back out, some other insights. You have guide and user usage. So you'll be able to know what your users are doing in the application and when they're doing it. So just some really great information here regarding these guides. And we really feel like this type of insight provides true understanding of how your users are leveraging Workfront, how they're leveraging the training content, and perhaps any corrective actions you need to take based on your review of them leveraging JumpSeat guides and Workfront.